What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the recent changes Fortnite made and why they actually made them, because they did put out an article kind of describing why they made these changes and what their thought process is. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you think of these changes, and more importantly, kind of what you think of Fortnite's reasoning behind them and the kind of the future of Battle Royale. Because at this point, I feel like we all know the changes. The Holo Twister AR, the MK7, and the Frenzy Auto Shotgun were all added back to the loot pool. But I think the reasoning for Fortnite doing some of these things is far more interesting than the changes are themselves. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And let's get right into the article. They actually put this out on Twitter on the Fortnite status account, kind of describing why they made some of the changes. And they said, "We've been making more frequent balance and loot pool adjustments to keep the season feeling fresh. And with today's update, we are honing in on what we love about Fortnite Battle Royale." So yesterday, we unvaulted 3 weapons, or 2 days ago, I think, as of the time I'm uploading this. We unvaulted 3 weapons into the Battle Royale loot pool: the Holo Twister AR, the MK7, and the Frenzy Auto Shotgun. Why these weapons specifically? We've seen you ask for more ARs with scopes and powerful shotguns added to the loot pool, and we feel these 3 answer that call. So I completely agree. There's been a lot of people wanting red dot ARs back into the loot pool. Adding both of them is kind of strange, but it is what it is. I feel like the Holo Twister AR is much better. The powerful shotgun thing is interesting to me because I think the shotgun balance for Chapter 6 has actually been good for most of it. I think the Sentinel pump is one of the best balanced pump shotguns we've ever had in terms of being good and effective, but also not being like way too easy to use. I think how good your aim needs to be should be rewarded with the shotguns, but especially this season with the Wrecker Revolver, I feel like that's one of the more powerful shotguns we've ever had, at least effectively in a loot pool. So this is interesting. Loot drop rates and in-match progression have been redesigned for real. It's time to reset and go back to the heart of Fortnite Battle Royale, where looting is extremely important to the game as each match progresses. We've cleaned out a lot of the redundant piles of loot and ammo to provide a cleaner looting experience, so it feels like a special moment when you discover the loadout that fits your playstyle. See the changes below. So this is something where I think a lot of people are going to dislike this. I think a lot of people are going to dislike these changes, but kind of like subconsciously, you might actually end up enjoying them. So floor loot, ammo, bug pods, chests, and military crates, and golden POI drones have been rebalanced across the island for healthier distribution of item rarity. Drop rates have changed for the minigun, swarm strike, and shockwave hammer to make it seem more joyful and impactful when you find one. So this is an interesting kind of thing, and that's why I was saying, like, subconsciously you might benefit from this, but in the match playing, just walking around looking for a shockwave hammer, I don't think makes the game more fun. It makes it more rewarding and feel better when you finally find it, but it's kind of hard to talk about. But basically, they wanted to make higher rarity loot, or the good items, harder to get or less common to get. That way it feels more meaningful when you get them. And this is definitely something that was true back in the early days of Fortnite. If you got a gold scar, you felt like that was a memorable moment back in the day, whereas now it's just incredibly common to get gold loot. We vaulted the epic slurp juice, that's the purple one. We want rare healing items to be available but not plentiful. Legendary slurp juice is intentionally peak. So the legendary slurps are still in the game, but obviously there's very limited ways you can get it from the bosses or the rift pod. With these adjustments, we want legendary loot to feel legendary, reducing the repetition of finding the same amount of god loot over and over throughout a match, which may sometimes feel boring. These changes have been a breath of fresh air in our playtests, and we are going to carefully monitor how the game feels to you, adjusting things when necessary. What do you think of these changes so far? We have a lot more content coming up very soon. Let us know what you think along the way. So I agree. This is something that back in the day, it felt special to get a gold weapon, but that kind of just diminished over time. The balance here is, like, obviously if you have the powerful loot be very scarce, it might feel more meaningful to have, or it might feel more memorable to have and to use those items. But it also makes the game more random to an extent, and I think that makes the game more frustrating and potentially more boring. If you're just looting the same, if you're just like repetitively looting, looking for one item, or like mobility, for example, I don't think that makes a match more fun. And I think that's the way a lot of people are going to approach this. If, like, let's just say you don't get a shotgun, or you don't get heals, or you don't get mobility, I think a lot of players aren't just going to look at that and be like, huh, I guess we'll play without that this game. No, they're probably just going to go and loot more than they would like to and try to loot more like less populated areas. Like Demon's Debris, for example. I often leave there and go towards the gas station in the middle of the map or one of the bunkers. If I just didn't have a shotgun for whatever reason or I didn't get sufficient heals, I might go up and loot like some random, like maybe the monolith area. I might try to go there and look for like scrap loot or something like that. And that does make every match feel different. And that could be a benefit in the long term. But I think in the short term, a lot of players are going to see these drop rate changes and just feel like the game is immediately more boring. But I think in the long run, making each match feel different and making it not just feel like you immediately get everything you want is something that could benefit the game. And we do have hard information on what actually changed with the drop rates, so we're going to get into that now. It is a lot. So the purple slurp juice was vaulted, as we know. The following items had their spawn chance increased. So bandages, higher spawn rate. Minis, higher spawn rate, and it's a pretty significant one too. Flowberry Fizz actually had its spawn rate increased, which was surprising to me. When I initially read this, I was like, okay, they want us to be kind of shambles more often. But the Flowberry Fizz is a very good healing item. Swarm Strike Rocket Launcher spawn rate was decreased pretty, not significantly, but it also didn't have the highest spawn rate as was. The minigun had its spawn rate decreased. The green sweeper shotgun was added to OXR chests, and you might look at that and be like, okay, cool, more loot in the OXR chest. We'll get to that in a moment. It's actually a nerf to the OXR chest. So the green sweeper was added. The purple sweeper had its spawn rate increased in the OXR chest. The green OXR rifle was also added to the OXR chest. It previously didn't drop green items at all. And then the purple one, the purple rifle also had its spawn rate increased. The green revolver was added to the OXR chest, and then the purple one also had its spawn rate increased. So they added green items to the OXR chest, but also did increase the likelihood of getting a purple item from it. So you can get like kind of unlucky when getting the OXR chest now and not just be like guaranteed high rarity loot. The following items had their spawn rate decreased. The Shockwave Hammer, and this is a pretty significant change. While playing, I was still seeing it a good amount, but 30% less from chests, 40% less from floor loot. Med Mist had its spawn rate decreased. The blue sweeper shotgun had its spawn rate decreased in the OXR chest. And the gold sweeper shotgun was actually removed from the OXR chest. And then the same is going to be true for the OXR rifle and the Wrecker revolver, where they decreased the chance of getting a blue one, and then they completely removed the gold one from it entirely. If you remember back to the blog post, they said they want gold loot to feel more meaningful. These supply drones actually got improved quite a bit. So the chance of getting a blue version of the Hyperburst pistol, hand cannon, Wrecker revolver, Frenzy auto shotgun, Sentinel pump, Stinger SMG, Veiled precision SMG, Sweeper shotgun, Fury AR, OXR AR, Falcon Eye sniper, and Flowberry Fizz, all of those were increased. Each weapon was by 250%, so a significant chance of getting blue weapons from the drones now. And then also Fizz got its spawn rate bumped up. The drones also got mobility added to their potential drop rate. So now the drones in the gold locations can drop shockwave grenades, they can drop crash pads, they can drop chug splash, and then they also have a chance to drop the shockwave hammer. The spawn rate of getting minis from the drones was decreased. So as far as heals go, you're more likely to get the Flowberry Fizz and more likely to get the chug splash now. And then they removed the green version of all of these items from... Oh, sorry, I'm stupid. They decreased the chance of getting a big pot and then completely removed minis. But okay, they removed the green version of all these weapons. So you're no longer going to get green weapons from the drops or the drones. You're more likely to get a blue one now. And then you're also decently likely to get high rarity heals because they removed minis and medkits, decreased the spawn chance of big pots, but also increased the chance of Fizz and added chug splash to them. So I think the drones got a lot better. They're probably not going to be as good as they were when the season first dropped and they were like dropping way too much loot. That was actually a bug. But I do think these changes will make the gold drone POIs a bit better. It seems like this season, though, there's very few POIs that even have a chance to get the drones. I kind of wish they would make it all of the POIs. I feel like I only see it at like Supernova Academy or the Kappa Kappa area. And there might be other POIs that get it, but I just never really notice it. So if they made these drones go to every POI, or at least have the chance to go to every POI, I think that would be a good change. But these gold drones got a lot better. The following items have been adjusted in POI flag captures. You're less likely to get purple weapons, and you're less likely to get blue weapons from capturing the flag. I don't know what that means you're going to get instead, maybe green. I don't capture the flags often at all, so I'm not like very in tune with what like color loot they're supposed to drop. The following ammo has been increased in floor loot ammo boxes and large ammo boxes, heavy ammo, and rockets. That's actually surprising. And then the following ammo has been decreased in floor loot ammo boxes and large ammo boxes: light ammo, medium ammo, and shotgun shells. So you're going to be getting less light and medium ammo. You're going to be getting less shotgun shells when you do open up those ammo boxes. And this actually was something that was somewhat noticeable to me, especially when I was using the MK7. I was struggling a bit more for ammo. Normally, ammo is not really a concern at all. And I feel like your matches can still get to the point where it's not really a concern. Like once you're several kills deep, you've looted your POI, all that stuff, then ammo really isn't a problem. But like in the early to mid game, I think ammo is going to be more of a concern than it previously was. And those are the changes. So the drop rate changes were actually very significant, and there was a lot there. As Fortnite said, they want the high rarity loot to feel more meaningful and to be more deliberate to go for. And so the chances of getting legendary weapons was decreased a lot, but like your chances of getting blue weapons or like decent weapons seems to be increased, especially if you go to things like the bunkers or the gold drone areas. And I think this does make more deliberate gameplay more rewarded. So like the weapon bunkers, I think, are going to be better now. Not only do you have the chance of getting a decent like loot from the bunker itself, but that exotic can be good. If you have the exotic wrecker revolver, like it's been good all season, right? But now everybody in the lobby is going to be having likely lower rarity loot because the spawn chances for everything was decreased. So being able to get that exotic one is going to be better. And then same with the mythic. It's always been an advantage, but like the difference between mythic and gold, it's not that large, right? But if everybody's running around with like a blue one and you have the mythic one, that is a huge advantage you have on other players. And that is going to like trickle down across the board. Unfortunately, like with the AR changes, the mythic OXR, like it's obviously still good, but like third person weapons aren't going to be preferred to red dot ones. So that one isn't going to be as meaningful to go for, I don't think, as it was previously. But just in general, when you get good loot now, that loot, you're going to have more of an advantage than you previously did. And I think that one thing a lot of newer players struggle with is that they kind of see loot as like the end all be all. Like, oh, this guy's a gold gun and I have a purple one, I can never win that. Like, that's not how Fortnite is. But that advantage you have by getting that good loot is going to be better now than it was previously. And then same with heals. If it's harder to get the good healing items, when you have them, it's going to be more of an advantage for you throughout the course of that game. So I think this is, a lot of these changes are going to be things that people don't like, I think. Like, it does make the game more boring in the short term, but it seems like it's making the game more deliberate. And I think that could be a good thing in the long term once we're kind of adjusted to it. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting. Oh, one final thing I wanted to touch on is the OXR shops got a lot better from this because you can buy high rarity weapons there. And as I was saying, having that high rarity loot is going to feel better now because that delta between you and the rest of the lobby is going to be potentially higher than it previously was. So I think the OXR shops, they were already good, going to be even better now. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like some more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.